Pharmacy intelligence is fundamentally business intelligence applied in a pharmacy world. We found that there are a lot of services focused in front of the counter that enable chains to personalize and focus on the front of the counter experience, but there's not been a lot of technology or services available to help the pharmacy behind the counter and that patient interaction at the counter. Pharmacy intelligence, we have various services that we can provide backed by different pieces of technology, proprietary to innovation. What we found is technology is a pretty broad category, and you really don't know where you can get the biggest impact in your pharmacy. Sometimes at the very smallest level of workflow is where your best impact can be had. We are a technology vendor, but in this instance, this particular service is technology agnostic. So we can leverage the technology they've already purchased. We can help them deploy it more efficiently. We can help them modify their workflows. Most importantly, ensure a better customer experience. Our company is founded in an area where simulation was born. Our founder himself actually helped to design the lunar landing module to put people on the moon.
Wow. Okay.
So we've taken that same application and said, what if we could help people predict results in their pharmacy? The typical process we've seen in the past has been for people to do pilots. Pilots are challenging. They're a very small sample of what can be represented across a multi-thousand store chain. So if you do a very small sample, really what is the credibility in that pilot itself? On top of that, there's so many different scenarios in which that pilot is not predictive. So with simulation, we're actually able to take their real data, their real store layout, and actually tell them what would be the impact of the technology before they ever go through the expense of integrating a piece of technology or modifying a workflow, and give them a result with a very high degree of certainty, plus or minus 5% probability in the outcome, and it enables them at a much lower cost point to be able to test and prove out what they'd like to implement. And this could be a simple change in process, like for example, let's eliminate the patient paperwork printed during the production process and go to a print-on-demand approach. How would that impact the customer experience? Does it create a bottleneck at customer pickup? Does it lengthen the wait times? Does it shorten the fill windows? How does it affect the labor model in the store? And once this model is built, then it can be used to predict many different things. You basically have an asset that every time you're thinking about a workflow change or a technology introduction or even a modified operational procedure, you can model it in advance and see the outcome. I've loved to listen to the stories of our founder as he talked about the Apollo 13, when for the first time simulation was used to predict the future. They modeled every scenario to get that capsule back to the Earth. So we take that same technology, patented technology, and deploy it now in the pharmacy world. Well, we offer this as a professional service, but then it's also backed up by several different processes that they can choose from. So one of the new processes that we've deployed with multiple customers, multiple chains, is human factor simulation. And that's where we actually model not only the technology and the workflow, but model the actual employees in the pharmacy, model their rates, their processes. And when you look at one of these models, it looks very much like you're in a computer animation model where you see everybody moving around within that pharmacy format, but it's based off of the data that we've collected in advance and then on site as well. So you can see how you could impact that real process, and there's something about seeing it visually. We're a visual society. We like all the new latest and greatest technology, but you sometimes in looking at just sheer numbers, you can't see what you can see when you actually can watch the process. And that's why I believe chains so much have really enjoyed running pilots in the past. You know, they like to get it in and feel it and touch it. And this gives them that actual experience without having to go through the cost and the time. And then they can run it across, you know, hundreds or thousands of stores and see how it impacts it on a much higher level of credibility.